Peace. I'm here early, starting a little early. Been here a while actually. As always, I like to take your questions. If you don't know what this is the Peace course at a law school in Mecca, political education and civilization enrichment. I'm gonna be online. I should be online for 2 hours. If I get offline, it'll be because someone that I expected to come here and film is going to be here, and I don't want to. I would like them to have the original content of the build. So for this time, I won't like just have to build while I'm um, building with them. But it also means that you wouldn't really lose any contact. You just would see it later. So I will be here for 2 hours or as long as I can until that happens. All right. So if anybody has any questions, again, when the classroom is online, it means that this is a primer. That this is a way to get into this knowledge of self, to begin this knowledge of self, and then to contact me, to see what you need to read, to make a schedule for yourself, to study these things that I share, and get on point. As we all need to do. Okay. Today is the God Day. I'd love to see people build on uh, today's mathematics. Like I said, I always tell people when it's the knowledge day, when it's the God Day, everybody is wrong. So automatically, everybody's build will be insufficient. I'll find a hole in it, an addendum, an add-on. A lot of people will build on today's mathematics and tell me what God is, how he should behave, how he should be, good orderly direction, or something like that. Nah, we need proofs. Why there is a God in the first place? Why does God exist? And then why does he exist as the way you're saying? As a man and as a specific man, a true and living God. It's a lot to answer. All right, so I would love to see people take a stab at it. Like the Knowledge Day, these are days that people give me. I get very rote answers, very robotic answers, and then we wonder why we don't teach so much. Why the teachings, they're not really out there enough. Because these builds they're not that sharp. 85 aren't that enlightened by them, right? So we'll see. As everybody hustles in here, all right. Quiet class today. Maybe because I'm here. Started this a little bit early. Some of the possibilities of research here. One of my most important plus lessons is my BAT plus lesson. It's called BAT. Build awareness of your square. Build awareness square. And in the last month of the year, I like to go over it a lot and how we could plan to focus on these things, but with real planning and depth and real usefulness. So as people come in or people log in and see the video, I don't want just to have some dead air here. not good for radio. It's not good for an online class session. So we'll go online with this. And, peace of God. King, I said everybody's wrong today, so now nobody wants to get in here. They know that the God Day, they don't really build too well. Now I would think that everybody will want to tune in, though, on the God Day to see how to actually answer this. You know? Right now, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know. I don't want to give the answer. I don't want to give the challenge to get to the answer. Just want to see what people say. But I didn't even go online. I see these boring ass. He's the good orderly direction. The one and only. Because we lost time searching. We lost no time searching. Some type of answer that doesn't really answer the question. Why is the original man God? Why is man God? Why does God need to exist? Why does it need to be a creator of all things? What is the format of creation? How it works? These are the questions we should be asking. These are the questions that philosophers, scientists, and budding thinkers ask as they delve into the sciences and questions, and hopefully that people that want them easily answered. There are many religions to choose from. So if you want a question answered, step outside. There's a religion down the block, on the corner, right? Maybe even next door, right? But we want to have something deeper. We want to have these questions. See, when we get knowledge of self, a lot of times we're trying to answer these questions definitively and be done with it. And this is a problem. We shouldn't be done with these with these questions. We should be delving into these questions. We should be adapting. Right. So, also too, the scholarship of coincidence is what I don't allow in the classroom as well. So many scholars, though, they'll say stuff. 7 is something that you see in many number configurations throughout history. And so it proves that it is a divine number. That doesn't prove a damn thing. That just proves that it is venerated. And we have to go deeper, right? So these are, even those things are something. King, you said the original man is God because it has yet to be proven that any non-original people could create him, but he can create all. The melanin that exists in the original exists in the universe and everything around him. The original man is also supreme being because he represents the essence of everything in human form. It's a good answer. What we want to do is we want to flesh out the essence, right? Obviously, for people that wouldn't know, right, if we're dealing with the 85, what would it mean to say non-original people, right? So I want to detail that, right, and give this a more real detail. And then here, the reality of melanin, though, the reality of us as carbon-based life forms, right, and how crucial melanin is, right, and where that research takes us. These are all important aspects. Right. So it's a good answer. Um, Melanin is something that, what's interesting is that when I got knowledge of stuff, the science of melanin was something that was very much studied. It was very important, and I've noticed that not so much anymore. And I can't call it. I don't know. You don't see the scientific research, and I don't know if it's because some of the last. Um, I won't mention the author's name, but his supposed scientific book about melanin was so horribly done that it just turned melanin and melanin research into something where we're just looking at people that are black and just saying that visibly are dark and just saying, well, they're more powerful and they have everything, and no real science behind it, no studies, different from the works of Jewel Pookrum, uh, T. Owens Moore. At one time in the early days of what we would call podcasts, when they didn't even have a name for it, there was it would just be radio shows online. That's why I said, like, this idea of podcast being created, a podcast is not a distinct thing. It's just radio online. And you say, well, but it's for a set time and a set conversation. That's what radio shows are. It's the same thing. And radio shows online, though, specifically online, predate everything that you know about podcasts. So it's just when it got its name. So it's not like I don't really bear witness to that. But anyway, I'm saying that because T. Owens Moore, Science and Myth of Melanin. Jewel Pookrum did not write a book on melanin, but she had a great lecture. I have to revisit it. 7 Circuits of the Brain. No one would get much more out of that. And who was the other ones? Dealing with melanin and sleep and those kind of concepts. Dr. Richard King's works, right? So that's something to you can say. Right. Okay, you got it. Black, brown, yellow. The essence meaning the universe, like atoms, aka balls of energy that animated its physical form, that religious people tend to call spirit, which is simply energy. Original people are all shades of black, brown, yellow. That's right. And I'm only asking. I know, for example, I know King knows this. You know what I mean? But it's always the exercise, and that's why we build on the day's mathematics, though. The exercise of this agility. Because the more that you exercise this understanding, the more, if it's properly done, the more it's being tested, the more it's being studied, the more you're saying this isn't good enough. And some people answer this, even 5%ers, they'll build and see that a build is not strong enough, and they judge it based on who's believing them. This is a bad way of gauging, because if you have magnetic, handsome, God is handsome, Earth is pretty, you dress right, you know what I mean? You're cool, whatever, to the youth, whatever it is, that could get befuddled and muddled with the actual quality of your build, you know? The supreme dominance of the universe in human form, which makes him the supreme being. Right. Interesting. So there is one argument. You know what I'm saying? There is one argument. Yeah, the look, listen, and observe, right? Always the wrong answer on the knowledge day. Okay. Look, listen, and observe is what older gods started to say because they wanted the young to pay attention and shut the hell up. So they told them to do the knowledge. So they took knowledge and took it as a verb, action word. But knowledge in the supreme mathematics is a noun. It is a noun. It is a thing that is abstract, real, all at the same time, concrete. What is it? So that's why I had that joke. But so when we build, especially about God. Um, we want to be able to gauge the quality of our build and not just use it by magnetic quality. Okay, by magnetic quality. Some people can say the most basic shit and it blows people away. That doesn't mean that it's true. That doesn't mean that it is worthwhile. It doesn't even mean that it's the greatest insight that could be shared at that moment. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, the length of the build is not really like, right? We're taught to teach people, living beings, often the youth. So the short build fits, but if you engage the audience, if you gauge the audience in the cipher, if there are more than one person, more than two, right? Then that means that you're engaging them. That means 1 or 2 extra minutes, 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying, right? You engage the youth. You try to find what is it that they, their frame of mind, right? Some of those clues are in what they like, but not really. Okay, you cannot always find a young person's mentality by what they like. You know what I mean? There needs to be more than that, right? The father always said, "Keep it simple." That's something. That's something that was said that he said that, right? But it was only because it wasn't because of the length of the build. It was only because sometimes gods were so excited about what they were learning that they would often teach people stuff that was something way beyond their reach. So to be excited though, so they would go, really be going off, and going into high sciences and deep stuff, and kind of lose the listener, the young listener, you know. So the father was always, it was always about the build according to who's there. You know what I'm saying? Complete peace. Like when I find a student, I always ask students when they're young, I ask them their educational level. If they gone to school, and over the years I always do that, and some of them get nervous. So they think I'm gonna tell them to go to school or something like that. I teach a dropout. You know, um, I don't really make those. I don't really make those judgments. You know what I mean? But the way that I'm teaching them, I want them to go learn. And if they have to go back to school, my main pitch isn't really for them to learn what they need in school, but to gain access, through that. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. Peace to the earth, harmony, equality. All right. Um, so yeah. Um, so this day is very important though. Because brothers, they wouldn't come to the school on the God day. You know what I mean? They're not really equipped to build on this day, so they don't come. Literally, I'm telling you. I would have certain students, and they would be like, I didn't come to class because it was the God day. They didn't know what to say. Like they didn't know what to say for the day's math, so they didn't come. And I get it, but it's being a bad student. You go to school when you don't know stuff. Right? Go to school when you don't know stuff. If the school is worthy, you'll always be in some type of ignorance that could be gloriously added on to. You know what I mean? Wow, that's peace. The God is born on the God day. You know what I mean? That's peace to the God. That's special. That is very special. Right? But all the questions of science, all of the questions of confusion, All of these things are to be answered with detail, not just left by the wayside because now you know, and really all you do is accept that the original man is God. This isn't good enough. There needs to be more detail. Right? All right, JB the best. Peace. Again, I'm asking people to build on the day's mathematics. I'm also asking people to ask any question that they want. Okay. I'm going to be online as long as I can. If the God comes and I think the God infinite is going to come, right? Infinite, Allah, infinite, inf mega of Allah's Allah School of Mecca YouTube page. And if he comes and builds with me, I'm going to let this cipher go. That way, the content he procures is wholly original, and I could concentrate on that. I don't want to do double shift here. But that content would be available soon anyway, so it wouldn't be like it would be lost. That's the only way I'll cut this class short. But I always give you 2 hours of otherwise. You know what I mean? So if it's just us, then I'll be here till I should be here till about 8:40 or something like that. But it's the end of the year, so slowly but surely I'm going to be going through some plus lessons I've always written over the years. I'm going to go through some planning. I want to hear what people have accomplished this year. And one of the best ways to realize if your year has been crap and you haven't achieved the things that you wanted to is to use this December to start planning and plotting how you'll attack the next year. You didn't read enough books. You didn't write enough. You want to try writing. You didn't do anything creative. You didn't train, right? Then this is great to lead off with. So you have a couple of weeks. So let's say you didn't train, you didn't work out. I always call it training because we're working out for something. Okay. So if you're going to work out, you figure out what you're working out for. Okay. And it being for the physical aesthetic of what you look like, that's acceptable. That's always acceptable. All right. Now, all right. Celestine Best, peace. You are peace, God, good orderly direction. That I hope that isn't the build. Good orderly direction is something that God does, but it is not the definition of God. It doesn't show and prove that God, what God is in any kind of way. Okay. I'm not saying that you're giving me that as an answer, but it's not an answer, right? So we always want to go beyond that, though. Okay. It's like when we say arm, leg, arm, head. That doesn't prove that Allah is arm, leg, arm, head. Just a great acronym that pulls you in, right? So let's say you're trying to train, right? Going back to this slide I was on, and you have certain weeks. Let's say you have difficulty, so you try to do maybe 2 or 3 days. Then you realize that you do it. Then the next week you realize that's not good enough. I'm going to try to do 4. Well, in your experimentation, now you'll already be close that once January hits, you can solidify and say, listen, you're going to do 5 days. And there'll be varying sets and we'll be consistent with this. This is the amount of time. And we're going to put a high intensity as much as we can to this time. This is the way we're going to schedule it. All right. So this is what you want to do. If you didn't read enough, then that is something that you plan for next year, but you start doing now because reading is a skill set. Okay, reading is based on speed that decreases the minute that you stop reading. Okay, the minute that you stop reading. So it has to be done daily. So you start practicing that. You're not going to read the amount of books that you wanted to this year, but if you start off, though, you'll head into the next year running. So what we want to do is we want to, get in running, right? That's how we want to do it. Okay. So this is this kind of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about, planning certain things, getting our things done, and doing our best to get rid of excuses. The time that we have, mastering these things. You need certain amounts of sleep. Let's say you gauge your sleep and all that. A lot of us are not taking into account the elimination of the things that we do that take most of the time, right? Bad preparation, right? Preparation, our clothes and everything like that, right? That takes a long time to fit. I spend a long time. I spend care into my clothing, but I always pick out my clothes early, so the next day I already know what I'm gonna wear. Even as I work from home, I know exactly what I'm gonna wear already. My training gear is already set out. Everything's ready to just dive in. The things that make you procrastinate the most, right, are the things that you set up the night before. Okay? People have trouble training, working out. Leave those clothes out, right? Leave if you're working out at home, leave all that equipment propped up, right? Harmony, you said it. I'm actually took a break from social media to focus on my studies, reading, meditating, exercising more. Well, absolutely, absolutely. You know what I mean? Um, that's peace, harmony. Yeah. Um, there's good people to communicate with on the social media, but because social media continues to close the amount of people that can get access to us and stifle our algorithms, it doesn't become that place anymore where we could really extend ourselves. You know what I mean? It's still going to be based. So we have better research tools, right, including social media, but we have less capability of accessing them if we get lost in the superficialities of it. So it's definitely something to cut out and stuff. One thing I do is that I count everything I do is counted. So there are goals, reading goals every week, every year, but also reading goals every week, specific goals, writing, right? And I simplify the task, like this month, um, I set very strict goals on finishing a book I'm releasing in January. And it's a very difficult um, assignment to complete by the first week, to have it out, the book out by the second week of January. Very difficult, but I had to prioritize away from it the months before, right? Because it was important that I focus on the other work, right? Including the solo album and the other works that me and Kim were doing. And the only way I could finish that solo album was by focusing only on that, right? So now I have to make up for it though, and really go nuts with the book. You know what I mean? Where now I could be a little slower. King, I'm a little slower with the songs now because I'm listening to so many other songs, right? So because writing about music is a lot like especially in this case, it's being one genre. It's a lot it's like working at a perfume shop. Your sense of smell, just like your ear, you can lose it. And everything sounds horrible to you after a while because you get tired. The harmony, the reel of 2023, the reel of 2023. I got the cover. I shared the cover. Pre-orders are available. Deals if people don't have the other two books, reel of 2021 and 2020, right? Those 2 years combined in one book, or the reel of 2022 last year. So everything is on sale. Those the other real books are on sale, and the reel of 2023 is coming out second week of January because I always got to get the all the everything released in December in there. You know what I mean? That's peace. Yeah. The hardest part is actually writing about the albums I did. I don't really want to cover that. I don't really want to cover that. But it is part of the year, right? I might have to Benzino like about 50 pages to talk about it. But yeah. Also next year there'll be a lot of my solo album will come with a book as well. Martial arts book that goes with the book. Martial arts philosophy book that goes with the album. I'm also making a lyric book of the last two albums that I did with King. The new one, Burnt Silk and Blessed Be Builds, and The Unlearned. That's going to be one. I'm put those together as one lyric book, just because it's fun to write and throw it out there. Um, so yeah, those I'm doing those. Yeah. Um, there's so many things I'm writing though. Those got put to the wayside because it's hard to write a lyric book of what you just did when you're doing the next one. So it kind of took me off there, you know. But we'll get it out there. You know, there'll be smaller books. It won't be as big as the Mantras Across the Medinas book. Um, I say that though, but then I start writing, and you know, it's a very free form writing though, so they're fun to write. Um, so we'll see. I don't know how long they'll be. You know, I don't know how long they'll be. You know, but it's a lot of books though. You know, and that's all in the early part of the year. So 2024. So probably the rest of the year will be spent working on different books out of genre. I have a lot of books I'm writing out of genre. You know. Yeah. We've been behind on the merch and stuff like that. You know, we've been behind on the merch. It's hard to make. It's hard to do all this stuff. You know what I mean? Because you know, we don't get the press. We don't get the 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 connections. We don't get all that. You know what I mean? Um, I write about lots of albums. I cover lots of people, and I know that my career has helped a lot of people, but I definitely don't get that from other media people. You know what I'm saying? Definitely don't get that from other media people. You know, and the artists that respect our work, respect what I'm doing. They're not writers. They don't write reviews. You know? But we keep building, right? We still build. Man, colon cleanser I went on a week long. Kale shakes, only water blended, gross. It did nothing for me. Um, get chlorophyll powders. They taste so much better. I think it's cheaper than just going to the store and blending kale. Um, Mixing it with different fruits like pineapple and stuff like that. Uh, because those are good cleansers. Um, that'll be more potent for you, King. You know, drinking a raw kale shake, shit. You know, I love kombucha and the one my GT Synergy. That's my brand, and the only kombucha I don't drink from them is the green one, multi green. You know, I need some fruit in the kombucha, but yeah, you can't have that by itself like that. You know, and I love kale though. Oh man, that's saying a lot, King, man. You know, that's saying a lot. You know, but yeah, between what is it, the end of October and through the end of August and through November, through all of November, that's how long it took me to make the solo album, and just a lot of fury into it, a lot of fury. You know, it's a powerful emotional record. You know, yeah, man. I think people, they'll really love it. You know, but there was a build here. I missed the build here. Where is it? Ah, JB the best. I was about to read what you wrote and then you deleted it. Let me know. Let me know. I asked a lot of questions in the beginning of the class. Who's what? Why? Why do we need a God? Right? Many of the great scientists are atheists. It allows them to ask questions without worrying that there must be an answer. Think about that for a minute. Right? So that's something to think about. Because it's also important to prove that there is a God, that there ought to be a God, that there needs to be a creator. Things are here and they are created. Who has created them? It sounds simple, but it is something that even scientists can deny. Why is that? Right? It impairs so many other questions that they'd rather let that logic go. It's funny in school, there's heat coming in, but only in one spot of my body, right? So my legs are cold and my upper body is okay. It's weird. Yeah, Harmony. The solo album is gonna have Inscription too. You know, I'll I'll text you the name of the book and the name of the cover. I mean, the name of the book and the album, which is the same name. I'll text it to you later when I get out of class and stuff. Um, Even that I never shared because the martial arts book was originally written in 2005. 2005. And that was before I started working at the Source magazine. That's when I wrote the book. I think I wrote it in like March of 2025. 2005, not 2025. 2005. And there are some changes to it, but the bulk of it, 95% of the book was written then. And it's so different that I never released it, you know. And now I'm releasing it because I think with all the books I've shared, um, I think yeah, yeah, definitely, you know, um, yeah, God, when that comes out, I'm gonna get, yeah, I got you on the Copy King, but when that um the cover itself, I never wanted to be copied, so I never shared it with anybody. I never told anybody the cover. There's only like a handful of people that know, you know. Thankfully, baby mamas didn't snitch on me and tell them because but they didn't care. Oh man, that's peace, man. That's peace. Yeah, Inscription 2 is it's a heavy song, man. It's a heavy song, you know. Um it's different than Inscription. It's different than Inscription. Um I think it's more emotive. Emotive, yeah. Definitely more intimate the way I did it. I think it'd be useful. I think the album actually helps people understand what I did on the book. And that's why I loved intertwining the book and the album. You know, the album is basically a way to understand the mentality of the book, you know. So and yet the book is totally different than the album. They're two totally separate entities as well, you know. So it's not like I'm just parroting the book in the album, right? Yeah, leak it to bootleggers, you know. Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, that's funny, man. Shit. Let me tell you something. If by some odd, I know in some alternate universe I'm the shit, and selling millions of copies in some alternate universe, and uh, and and despite that, I'm probably dealing with them leaking, um, you know, my books and book titles and ideas and shit, you know. At times, God, yeah, I did feel pressure. It's funny. It's like I thought a lot about creating this year, because you're creating a work. You know what I mean? Um, Writing and stuff like that. It's so easy for me that that I don't. It doesn't register as something that I have to dig into. But formatting it though, when you put it into a song, it really feels like you're making a product. So look, I'm creating something, and placing it inside a working machine, which is the song. That's how it feels. Taking what I'm doing and putting it inside this working machine that, you know, that King is dragging. You know what I mean? Like it's weird, and that's not easy to do. You know, that's what I say. Like we all should be challenging ourselves to create something. You know, this is the essence of today's mathematics, to create something, and to challenge yourself to create anew. That's why I want people to write. I need people to have journals. Don't tell me you're not an author, writer, or anything. Okay, to have journals and stuff. You know. But I did feel some pressure because I in my mind I wanted to be connected with the book, and then that put more pressure on myself because I think the book is something that's uh, it means something to me. But if the pressure went away, it's because it's because of King. You know, it's because of King. Come on, you know what I mean? Because I know what's good is going to be spoken well of and used, and what's not good is going to be spoken properly of, so I could repair it. You know what I mean, and do better with it. So that kind of worry is out the window. You know, like I'm not worried that something whack is going to be put out there. Um, and the more that we work together, the more the expectations rise. So in fact, that's a lyric in the first song. Raising expectations. I said, right? Yeah, definitely had to get out of the way. Yeah, man. Like it's writing in different format. And I've taken MCs that didn't really write and had them write essays and things like that, and it was easy to take them out of that format because I understand the format I'm bringing them to. But this one is more of a constricted format for me. So yeah, I did. I had to get out of the overwrite. In fact, I forgot what song it was. It's probably one on I gave a verse I gave someone else or something, where I was like, I did this line in the song. I forgot what it was. And it's a dope line, but it actually shouldn't have been in the song because it's a line that reads well, not it doesn't give much in the delivery though. You know? Like, imagine like some kind of homonym or something like that, or some phrase, but it doesn't really add on to the thing. So I was like, I have to learn how to write for the ear and not just for the eye. When you're writing for the ear and the eye. That's what people don't get. When you write essays, when you write anything on paper, you see it more with poetry. But when you write something on paper, right? Um, that isn't just what people are reading, but it's also how they see it, though. How they see it, though. It counts. It allows them to. In other words, you want it laid out so your grammar you have to know your grammar properly so you can use it and misuse it under your discretion, and write it in such a way where people read it the way you intend it to be read. That's the whole point of grammar. So people read things the way it's meant to be said. Most people aren't good at that or haven't practiced enough, and that's why text messages usually go awry. You know, gotta be, yeah, like phenomenal, like super soulful. Yeah, God, yeah, we gotta. Whew, that's gonna be crazy. Do I? No, I don't. I actually don't. I mine from all the poetry I've done, like my art and art book. I mine from my file of thoughts. I have a thoughts file where I just write ideas of any kind. I don't have a book of rhymes though because I never wrote rhymes. The first time I said I would write a rhyme, there's going to be a song where I am rhyming, was 9,000 Miles. Every other song I've ever been on, I kind of was just formatting my poetry to be rhythmic a little bit, but I didn't write them as rhymes. So the first rhymes I ever wrote, like I said in Mantras, in the lyric book for Mantras Across the Medinas, I never wrote a rhyme. and I didn't write rhymes as a kid. I didn't really, as a little kid, I didn't listen to hip hop like that. As a high schooler, when I became obsessed with hip hop, it was so brand new to me that the idea of trying to rap um, was not a logical thing. Peace, right? So I don't have a book. I don't have a book like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So if people see rhymes now and stuff like that, those are things I'm writing now. You know? I think that because I still um, write in so many ways, I don't really I still can inject other things to it, you know. And I think sometimes people still hear me as like just only spoken word, like they see me only spoken word because even when I'm flowing in the pocket, um, I don't say I don't say things just for the sound of it though. So if it sounds good and it's not a dope line, I don't write it down. So I don't use you know, if I feel like if I've heard it before, if it sounds similar to somebody, I don't use it. I very rarely use similes just because I don't want to do it. It has to be like a simile that is weird or different, you know? GB the best. Let's get to this. You said, I see today's supreme mathematics as Allah God. The black man is God because he is the highest form of existence, born from the infinite mind and supremely constructed to access and master the creative, powerful force of the mind by taking thought and manifesting in the physical. So, this correct statement is only a thesis because part of the work now is how do you prove that man is the highest form of existence, right? How do you prove that? I didn't say it was wrong. I said how. Um, if he's the highest form of existence, right? And then now there's problems with grammar here. It's highest form of existence, born from the infinite mind. This needs the grammar is off because it sounds like the infinite mind is something else, right? Peace to God. I said infinite, and infinite walks in. That's creepy. I'm the God. He's God. Ah man, I'm gonna finish this soon because I want to build with you exclusively. That way we could get that on there. But I want to finish this answer here to the build. Um, yeah. So a lot of times people's build on the day's mathematics, especially this day, is really a thesis though, because if you say that in the street, you haven't proved anything of that, right? So what we want to do is we want to take our journals, we're going to take our personal research and say, how are we going to tackle this? This is the assignment. So JB, you wrote your assignment, not your answer, right? You wrote your thesis. That's the top of the thing. And now you're going to write a build that is going to prove each part of that, right? Now, the highest form of existence is us. And if we're born from the infinite mind, the way that you wrote it can imply to people listening or hearing this, if you said it to them, that the infinite mind is something else. So the infinite mind produced this highest form of existence. Okay, this is confusion that happens when people hear stuff like this. Right? And he says supremely constructed to access and master the creative, powerful. Okay, supremely constructed to access and master. So now you have to be able to build on the construction of that. Right? How is that constructed? Right? How was it constructed? This is something to build on too. Right? And then constructed to access and master the creative, powerful force of the mind. Right? Then we have to ask if we are the highest form of existence from the infinite mind, why do we need to create ourselves in order to access and master the creative, powerful force of that same mind? Because creating ourselves, wouldn't that be a test of it? So it's still awkward. You see the awkwardness here, right? And then said the force of the mind by taking thought and manifesting it in the physical. But wasn't thought already used to make the supreme being? Yeah, I'm deliberately putting the answer in and putting you into a circle, like where you get into a circle, so that way you learn to simplify it, but also get deeper into it. You know what I mean? Because we say stuff like this, and I think I'm not saying you, certainly not you. I don't know how you're building, how you're outside, but a lot of times we have very deep builds, and we don't have enough simpler builds for the man on the street, the kid on the street, and then the deeper builds. We don't know how to take the deeper build and show how that connects to the simple build. So even when we have both builds, we don't really have the connective tissue. And so they seem very separate. So we hear God build, and he's like, oh, I understand why the black man is God. That was simply put, I get it. Then we hear this high level shit, and we're like, how does that connect to the other part? And now we're confused again. See? So the mind was always here. The mind creates. This is why I said, look, people walk in my classroom, I draw a human, which is us, though. I'd like to say it was us. It's drawn horribly, so I have to say it's human. This little stick figure, and I draw the universe, a circle around him. That's all of the universe, though. And it's the circle is just symbolic because the circle's inside something, right, on that blackboard, so it wouldn't be the whole universe, but let's just say. And it's simply put, the creator is in his own creation, creating creation. That the reality of our existence is creating, and that the supreme being creates and creates themselves anew endlessly and infinitely, right? And now we can break down stuff. But JB, you have your thesis there, and that's where you start from, right? But all right. King, you asked if it goes back to the infinite mind. What if someone has what is considered the infinite mind, where it all starts? Many have said the universe, right? But that's the thing, though. The mind is something that is abstract and is not a physical thing. That's why we created ourselves into a physical reality. You see? So there is no evidence of the physical reality. That's not how the mind plane is. The mind is not a physical reality in the way that we see it now. That's why we manifested it into this physical reality. Because the supreme being, the true and living God, masters all realms and must exist in all realms that are thought of, created, and expounded on. That even answers some of why even the devil exists, right? We technically say that even if there wasn't this issue that led Yaqub to manifest the devil, this idea of separation, that things have to get created anyway, right? But it's a slippery slope there, right? That things have to be created just because they're thought of, right? That's also a slippery slope.
So have you ever heard like the mind being slowed down? Like matter is the slowed down version of the mind.
Yes, I have. Yes, yeah.
So like the mind travels at the speed of light or faster,
right?
But then it slows itself down to manifest itself as an physical reality.
Yeah. I heard that. I forgot where I heard that as well. It might have been a book I was reading or something like that. Might have been that book I started, The Infinite Mind, told me about placebo effect. But it's just interesting. It's very interesting. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna let everybody go. Harmony, I didn't forget. I'm gonna text you the name of the book / album, so that way you know. I'll tell you a little bit about it, so that way you see how it connects and everything. But everybody, email me. You have my email. Obviously, if there was a brother that was looking for knowledge of self, and he was trying to get me to teach him through the internet and stuff like that. And I was like, where are you at? And he was like Queens, and I was like,
Oh, come on.
there's so many people I'm teaching that aren't even near us, you know, and you want me to teach you, yeah, you know?
To school.
And I'm like, when I got knowledge and stuff, I was living like 2 hours away from here. I was in Sunset Park, you know what I'm saying, in Medina, and I was taking the D, the R, everything all the way up here, you know what I mean? So yeah, you know, and I came from Staten Island and come here, so
what's your excuse?
yeah, so we could do that travel, you know what I mean? Like we could do that travel, you know. It's good for you though, you know what I mean? It's like I don't know, people don't do the travel that they used to, you know what I mean? Like
The thing is, you think the internet has contributed to the
I think so,
laziness?
like they think they can learn everything at the comfort of their own home, you know? Like me and the gods, we learned Kung Fu for free. Bobby taught us for free. Man, I would have traveled 3 hours to get a free teaching. It's free. You know what I mean?
So come get it.
Yeah, like,
like
that was all I had to do was go get it, and it was like it's incredible, incredible, you know. But
yeah, it's the same thing. There's a brother that's from PA reached out to me and was telling me about learning online. He bought all these books and said, "This is not how it's done. It's not done."
People that is worthy is telling you to come here.
Yeah, right. Like travel, like you got it.
Yeah, travel, find somebody.
You know?
And then even the God, oh man, the God, what's it? I forgot the name of his site. On the Instagram, he got the guy from Detroit. What's
so Mr. Freedom?
Yeah, Minister Freedom. He's doing he's finding people in everybody's area too, which doesn't have to do. You know what I mean? Like right. So like
5% connection.
Yeah, because 5% connection. Because I feel like we've really lost touch in connecting, in finding people. Because it's hard to find people when they're inside the house. You know what I mean? Right? Unless we start doing Watchtower. You know what I mean?
Right.
Start knocking on people's doors though. Right? Yeah. You know. Right. That's it. Yeah, Harmony. They don't follow up. You know what I mean? Well, if they DM you, see, they're trying to kick it. Then you send them to a God, and then they don't want to follow up. Yeah, that's funny. But they definitely lazy guy. But I'm gonna let everybody go. Anybody wants to contact me, you have my email. If you have my number, always text me and everything. Okay. All right. So I will see you all online next week. All right. Peace.